of you who don't know me, I'm Rachel Most. I am the oldest of 5 kids, and I grew up in the fantastic state of Colorado. I'm very blessed to have grandparents and parents who love Jesus very much. From before I was even born, they were praying for me and they loved me. So I have only ever known parents who have loved me, and I've always known that Jesus loves me. One summer when I was 3 or 4, we were outside in our backyard picking strawberries. My mom told me not to eat any until we went inside and washed them. So what did I do? I sneakily ate some. And then my mom turned around and saw me. Now, moms are smart and they have a way of knowing the truth, especially when there's strawberry juice around your mouth. So she asked me, "Did you eat any strawberries?" And I said, "No." So you can guess what happened. She took me inside and told me that I had lied. She told me that was wrong. In the Bible, that is called sin. Anyone who sins deserves to die and go to hell. But my mom told me there is good news. She told me that Jesus, God's Son, never sinned. He came to earth to show us the way to God and how to live and love well. A lot of people did not like what he had to say, so they put him to death on a cross. But Jesus never sinned, so he did not stay dead. He rose again after 3 days. My mom explained to me that when Jesus died, he was taking the punishment for my sins. Yes, that little lie I told about not eating strawberries. And because he took my punishment, even for a little lie, I could be forgiven. His forgiveness is a gift. All I had to do was believe that Jesus is God's Son, that he paid the price for my sin when he died, and that God raised him from the dead because he was sinless. And then I had to confess my sins to him and start living for him. Having just been caught lying and knowing beforehand that lying was wrong, my mom's explanation of how I could be forgiven made perfect sense. Even being as young as I was, I knew that I had a choice and that I was the only one who could make that choice. I remember praying with my mom in our kitchen, asking God to forgive my sins and choosing to live for him from that day forward. My life didn't change dramatically as a preschool-age child. My parents continued reading the Bible to us. I learned verses in the Christian school I went to and in Awana, and I learned more about living in Christian community, going to church and Sunday school. Life went on. When I was 13, my family went on a really big trip. We rented a motorhome and we drove from Colorado to New Jersey to New York, through Canada to Michigan. When we were in Michigan, my mom got really sick and had to be admitted to the hospital. We were staying with some friends, and they did a really good job distracting us with love and fun things to do. Now I was 13, so I was old enough to know that something bad was happening, but not old enough to be told everything that was happening. So I just remember being scared. That Saturday, our friends took us to their church. Their dad was the youth pastor, and we started playing laser tag in the church basement. And we were having fun, we were having a good time, but I remember all of a sudden being overwhelmed with scaredness. So I found a dark corner to sit in, and I just sat down, and all of a sudden, God surrounded me with a hug, and I heard his voice, and he said, "Rachel, I love you." I still get goosebumps when I think of that. He did not tell me that my mom was going to get better or that it was all going to be okay. He just told me that he loved me. And that was a big turning point in my life, because all of a sudden I knew that being a Christian was not just about believing. It was also about having a relationship with God, God who knew me, God who loved me, and God who wanted to walk with me. So you aren't left wondering, my mom did get better, which we're all thankful for. Obviously, a lot has happened in my life from when I was 13 until now. In high school, my dad didn't have a job for a few years, and God showed me how he very specifically provides tangible things. My family never went hungry, and we were able to stay living in our very amazing house on 5 acres with 2 dogs. I learned more what faith means through that. When I was in college, I was friends with a group of people for a while who believed a little bit differently than I did about what it meant to live as a Christian. I wanted to know what that truth was for myself, and I really struggled for a few months about what I was supposed to believe. God is faithful though, and in my struggling, I came out believing and knowing that the most important things about believing are knowing that Jesus is the Son of God, that he died for my sins and rose again, and that he is the only way to God and life forever with him. My life continues to be filled with testimonies of how God is moving in me. I have been through joy and pain. I have lost and I have gained. But I know that God is always near and his love for me is complete.